Oh, hi there. Thanks so much for showing up for math learning. It's Mr. Jennings. And we are going to be looking at a practice quiz here. So getting all of our skills ready to go for the semester, reviewing our grade 10 content. Our first thing here, solving this system of equations. So there's a couple different ways we can approach this, but in this case, let's go for elimination. So I'm going to try to create the situation where I have the same coefficient for one of my variables and an opposite sign. So I notice that if I do 3 times this equation, I'm going to get 9x minus 15y equals 24. And if I do 5 times this equation, I'm going to get 10x minus 15y equals 90. Okay, 5 times 18 is the same thing as 10 times 9. And then we add, so this is plus 15y, not minus. So that's good news. Oh my goodness. Something wrong with my organization here. Let me move this thing there. This should be better. Okay, yeah, it's very candid, this video. You really get to see me in my element. All right, so we are here plus 15. So now we go ahead and add these equations together and get 19x, 0y, and that's equal to 24 plus 90, so that's 114. If we go ahead and divide both sides by 19, 114 divided by 19 is, we get out our calculator. I mean, I can do that. Right. And find out if it's an integer. 114 divided by 19 gives us 6. So that is to say x is equal to 6. And once we have that, we have part of our solution. We're looking for the point where they cross. So now let's go ahead and take one of our equations. That one will do. This one would do fine as well. We could just substitute back in. It's going to be an easy way to do this. So 2 times 6. We know x is 6, so put it in. Plus 3y equals 18. So 12 plus 3y equals 18. Subtract 12 from both sides. Gives us 3y equals 6. And then we divide both sides by 3. So y equals 2. And then we've got it. So if that's how we want to write our solution, write it as a point, and this is complete. Any questions about these? Definitely do reach out. If you go over here and you calculate one of your variables and it's a fraction, it's a rational number, it doesn't land on the integers, I would suggest doing another elimination here where you eliminate the other variable and then you can work out the other value in that way. This way we didn't need it. Okay, now let's get into some quadratic skills. So we have this goal in this question of writing this quadratic in standard form. Basically, expand and simplify is what we're doing here. So let's do exactly that. So our first thing that I would do here, some students will like to multiply this in first. And I say, well, why do you like doing such hard work? Why don't you do the trickier multiplication first and then do that? So let's do it my way. Y is equal to minus 3. We're going to leave that alone for a minute and do this multiplication in the inside. X times x is x squared. X times 2 is plus 2x. Minus 5/3 times x is minus 5/3 x. And then minus 5/3 times 2 is minus 10/3. Generally would do it this way. And then we have 2x minus 5 on 3x. So let's just simplify that. 2x minus 5 on 3x is equal to 6 on 3x minus 5 on 3x. Okay, we're just going to create a common denominator. 2 can be written a fancy way. It can be written as 6 on 3. So 6/3 minus 5/3 is 1/3 x. That's how many x's we have there. So we're now just going to simplify that inside there. Y is equal to minus 3 x squared minus plus 1/3 x minus 10/3. And now we go ahead and do this distribution where we're going to multiply this in to every term inside the brackets. This is how I'd approach this one. If y is equal to minus 3x squared, minus 3 times 1/3 x is minus 1x, and then minus 3 times minus 10/3 is plus 10. Okay, this is if I have minus 3 multiplied by 10/3, but it's negative. That's this multiplication here. I'm just going to go cancel. I have a number upstairs. That's 3 on 1. I have a number upstairs. It cancels its evil twin in the downstairs, so they disappear in cloud of chalk dust. Negative times a negative is a positive, so we end up with 10 divided by 1. It's just the number 10. Circle your final answer, put a square around it, or just otherwise call our attention to it. Okay, that's meant to be an eyeball. All right, but what if we want to write things in factored form? Well, then we want to put this into the form where it's written this way. So we might have something like y is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. So then we have, well, okay, this is the same thing as we are going to go ahead and take this number 1, multiply it by 6. That gives us the number 6, and then take this number minus 5. And we are looking for two numbers that multiply to 6 and add to minus 5. Those numbers happen to be minus 2 and minus 3. They add to a negative, but they multiply to a positive, so both are negative. Now, we're going to take these two numbers and split this middle term up. So we have y is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 3x plus 6. Okay, you just decompose this middle term into two pieces. That allows you to factor by grouping. We're going to take a look at that one and that one as two separate groups. So our first group is y is equal to x multiplied by x minus 2. We just look for the greatest common factor here. There's no number factor, there's just x. So we factor that out. And then over here, our greatest common factor, we can call that minus 3. And then we would multiply that by x minus 2. And now, the magic trick, the magic that has just happened is we've created a binomial common factor for both of these things connected by this subtraction. So we may now write that as y is equal to x minus 2, factoring that out from x and minus 3. This is our final answer. We want to call attention to it, say, hey, go look at that thing. But we can also check our work. And we check our work just by expand and simplify. X times x gives us x squared. X times minus 3 gives us minus 3x. Minus 2 times x is minus 2x. And minus 2 times minus 3 is plus 6. So then we have this finishes out being x squared minus 5x plus 6. And that's where we started. So we are good. Check your work. All right. But what if we have something like this? And we're asked to solve the quadratic equation by factoring. Okay, let's take a look. First thing that we can notice is we have a common factor here. So I can factor out the greatest common factor, and that will make this easier. So it would be 0 is equal to 2 times 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. All of those numbers have a factor 2. By removing that factor 2, I get a simpler problem. So now I can actually go ahead and divide both sides by 2. And the cool thing about equations equal to 0 is 0 divided by 2 is still 0. So that's fine. We now have 0 is equal to 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. But before we get in there, I'm going to do this. 5 times minus 8, same process as above. 5 times minus 8 is minus 40, and then 18. Okay? I'm looking for numbers that add to this and multiply to this, minus 40. Okay? And so those numbers, well, they're adding to a positive but multiplying to a negative, so one of them is negative. The bigger one is positive because we add to a positive number. And then I can quickly check, okay, 20 times minus 2, if I put those together, they add to 18 and they multiply to minus 40. I need to be able to find these numbers in order to decompose this into plus 20x minus 2x. Nothing's changed, I've just split that into two pieces. That allows us to factor that as a group and factor that as a group. Let's go. So we have 0 is equal to, here our greatest factor, now there is a number that's common, 5x multiplied by x plus 4. And then over here our greatest common factor is minus 2 multiplied by, again, x plus 4. So now we get this line, 0 is equal to 5x minus 2 multiplied by x plus 4. Now, the reason we can use factoring to solve these equations when they're set to 0 is because if two things, if two things multiply to 0, one of those things must be 0. Either one. So this gives us actually two solutions. If 5x minus 2 equaled 0, well, that would mean 5x is equal to 2, because we add 2 to both sides to move it over. And then we divide both sides by 5. And we find that x is equal to 2/5. Or we're going to find another solution over here from this one. Okay. If x plus 4 were 0, that would certainly make this equation true, because you would have something multiplied by 0. Okay. Let's get rid of those. There's a lot of them. Okay. If x plus 4 equals 0, we subtract 4 from both sides. That's why this sign flips. X equals minus 4. So x is equal to 2/5 or minus 4. These are our two solutions to this equation. We could plug them in and check and make sure it's true, but I assure you it's true. Okay, let's keep going. Last one's a word problem. We're going to see a word problem like this tomorrow. The school council feels that 120 people will participate in a trivia challenge if the tickets cost $8. For every dollar they increase the price, they expect 10 fewer tickets will be sold. So if we were to create a quadratic equation that models our total revenue, our first question we should be asking ourselves is, what don't we know? And an efficient way to do this would be to say, well, y is the revenue, which actually it's helpful to do this. It equals number sold times the price per ticket. And then our x, the other thing we don't know is number of times they increase the price. And we can use that to build this equation. Okay, so first of all, our price per ticket, this part here is going to be $8 plus x. As they increase x by $1, the price of the ticket goes up. If they decrease the price will go down. Like remove $1 from the price, that would be x is -1. Okay, so we can still do this in the negative direction, even if we define it as increases in price. Okay, but then how about number sold? Okay, so number sold is going to be 10 fewer tickets every time x goes up by 1. So that part, number sold, is going to be 120 minus 10x. Okay, so now our equation, our quadratic equation that models the revenue, is going to look like y is equal to x plus 8 multiplied by negative 10x plus 120. I just like writing it in this order. So just move these around. A number can be moved if you move its sign with it. Okay, so that's our quadratic equation. Okay, Now, we've been asked to find the ticket price that maximizes their earnings, and then write the equation in vertex form. And there's so many ways to do this. Okay, first way, so we're just going to turn it into standard form and then find the vertex. Okay, so we have y is equal to x plus 8 multiplied by 10 multiplied by negative x plus 12. Why did I do that? Let's do this negative 10. Whatever. Just do it normal way. X plus 8. Don't be fancy, Mr. Jennings. This is not the time for fanciness. Minus 10x plus 120. We can factor out a negative 10 there. That's what I wanted to do, but who cares? Okay, so this gives us negative 10x squared. This is negative 80 plus 120x. And then 8 times 120 gives us 800 and 960. Okay, so write that in standard form. Negative 10x squared plus 40x plus 960. Okay, now once we've got that in standard form, we can find the vertex. One real cool trick here was two ways to find the vertex. One is negative b over 2a. Okay, this gives you the equation of the axis of symmetry. So if I have this quadratic, it looks roughly like we start up here at x is 0. Huh? Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that makes sense, does it? If we decrease the price 8 times, decrease the price 8 times. Oh yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, sure. So we have up here 960 is where it crosses, and it's going up, and then it comes down like that. How do I know this? I'll teach you later. Okay, I know that this is what our quadratic looks like, and if we do negative b over 2a, that will give us the equation of the axis of symmetry here. Negative b over 2a might be familiar to some of you because it's, you know, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac is the quadratic formula over 2a. And so the plus or minus part is talking about how much from the axis of symmetry the roots are, how distant they are. And then the negative b over 2a part is giving you the equation of the axis of symmetry. Right? So we're going to use that fact here to find the axis of symmetry very easily. Okay? So in this case, our b value is 40, so we're negative 40 over 2 times negative 10, so that's negative 20, and that gives us negative 40 over negative 20 is just 2. So the ticket price that maximizes their earnings is x equals 2. So we're going to increase the price. We go back to this here. What is x? It's the number of times we increase the price. Do that twice. So therefore, a $10 ticket will earn, let's see how much it earns. Okay, so we go, you can input it here, let's say. So we have y is equal to 2 plus 8, that's 2 times the price increased, minus 10 times 2 plus 120. Okay, so we get y is equal to 10 times 100. Negative 20 plus 120 is 100. Y is equal to $1,000. We'll earn $1,000. 100 people will participate in the trivia challenge. Okay, the last thing is to write the revenue equation in vertex form. So one way to do that is to say, okay, I have y is equal to negative 10x squared plus 40x plus 960. And one way is to complete the square. Another way is we already know The vertex is 10, 100, so 1000. And this is our vertex. And vertex form is given by this: y is equal to a x minus h squared plus k. We know this 10 is h, and this 100,000 is k. So we can just write this as y is equal to, a doesn't change, minus 10 x minus 10 squared plus 1000. This would be the most efficient way, I believe, to find that in vertex form. So I hope that was useful. I hope that this helps out and gets you on the board for these types of things. Let me give you some other ways to approach these questions. If I had y equals minus 10, so let's just do it from factored form. So we had x plus 8 multiplied by negative 10x plus 120. Okay, this was our expression, and we want to find the vertex. Another way to do this is to find the zeros. Okay, so I told you this thing looks like this, which is somewhat accurate. Okay, and we want to find these points, because once we do, we can just find the midpoint between them. That will give us the axis of symmetry as well. So to find the places where y is equal to 0, that's like saying find the x-intercepts. So set this equal to 0. 0 is equal to x plus 8 times negative 10x plus 120. Again, two solutions. Here's one. X plus 8 equals 0, so x equals negative 8. That's this point. That's the point, negative 8, 0. Obviously, they make $0 if they lower their price 8 times and set the ticket price to 0. Okay. The other way they can make $0 is to have no one participate. Okay. So if minus 10x plus 120 equaled 0, then we could go ahead and divide this whole equation by minus 10 on both sides, of course, just to simplify it. And that would give us x minus 12 equals 0. Or if they increase their price to $20, they increase the price 12 times. So this is the point. 12 price increases, 0 people participate, so our profit is 0. Yeah, no one wants to do trivia for 20 bucks. But 10 bucks and you get 100 people and you're rolling in money. Okay? So once you find these, then you average them. Okay, so you do minus 8 plus 12 divided by 2. That's the average of those. And the average is going to give you this axis of symmetry here. So that is 4 over 2. That's 2. Okay? We found it easier up here. We found it easier with negative b over 2a. Okay? Last way we could do this is by completing the square. And I'll show you. Y is equal to, we're going to start from factored form, standard form, plus 40x plus 960. This was our equation in standard form. If we're going to complete the square, our first step is to factor out this minus 10 from our first two terms. And leave a large space, plus 960. Okay? And then we take this minus 4, right? And we do a little magic trick. We do minus 4 divided by 2, and we square it. This gives us the magic number of minus 2 squared, which is 4. 4 is this number that we add and subtract here. The reason we do that is because that is now a perfect square trinomial. So let's see how that works. All right. X squared minus 4x plus 4 is the same thing as writing x minus 2 squared. I'll prove it. X minus 2 times x minus 2 is in fact equal to x squared minus 2x minus another 2x, so that's minus 4x, and minus 2 times minus 2 is plus 4. So that is indeed true. Okay, but then we're just going to take this minus 10, multiply this minus 4 by minus 10, so we can bring it outside the brackets. So that's going to be plus 40. Minus 4 times minus 10 is plus 40. We still have this minus 10 here. This is equal to y. And we have plus 960. Then we add these together. Just to finish simplifying, y is equal to minus 10 x minus 2 squared plus 1000. There's your equation in vertex form. I think you'll agree we got it easier up here, but I made an error. Oh my goodness, I made an error. That should be minus 2. I knew that. It's minus 2. That goes in there. I don't know why I have this here. Oof. $10 price tag. I know I have that there. It's this. So this is incorrect. The vertex is at 2, not 10. So this also proves the fact that I've been saying, which is when you do the problem 2 different ways, you find your errors. So that's a great way to be perfect in math. So I hope that was helpful. Look forward to seeing you all showing up for your math learning today. Any questions, hit me up by email, chat with me in class. Bye for now, everybody.